Dr. Ron.
Susan Tavana.
Hi, how are you? Morning.
Good seeing you. Good morning.
Nice seeing you as
Thank
well.
you for joining. Thank you for joining me, and thank you for everyone that joined us from Forestville, from our group Homeland Ontario Realtors for Realtors. Susan, I want to talk to you about Prince Edward County. I keep hearing about it for years from you, from yourself.
Yes.
For whoever doesn't know. We worked together for years. Whoever doesn't know, Susan did and still does my mortgages, a lot of my financing, my complicated deals. Susan used to and still does put them together, but she kept whispering in my ear.
Yes.
She said, Meir, look at Prince Edward County because that's where I'm buying, that's where I'm investing, and I'm doing really great. So I thought maybe now it's the time and the opportunity to share your knowledge. But before we do that, you're fairly new but successful, which is interesting as an agent. Before we do that, can you tell us about your background before you became an agent? Who is Susan Tavana?
Well, who's Susan Tavana will require a much longer conversation, but I would be happy to share with you my background. So I have a bit of a unique background. I came from the financial world. So, started in the banking sector, and I was, a certified financial planner for a number of years, but I'd always invested in real estate personally, and mainly in like pre-sale condominiums. And then I always knew I had a passion for it. So I wanted to do more work there, mainly as investment, like I said, dabbled in a little bit of some flips in the city. And then, a friend of mine actually turned me on to Prince Edward County a few years back. It was really unknown then. Really the Drake Devonshire is sort of the landmark hotel that started in Prince Edward County that garnered more recognition for most people. But before then, a lot of people didn't really know much about it. So once I went down there, I really fell in love with the landscape. And we can get into a little bit more as to why Prince Edward County later. But as a result, I started spreading my wings there, doing a little bit in Toronto. And then I realized, well, I'm doing all of this, but I'm paying someone else an agent fee to do it. So I thought, with my background from the finance side, as well as we have a successful family brokerage on the mortgages side, it seemed like a natural fit for me to go ahead and get my license. So I was quite lucky because I had a solid group of a network beforehand, people that trusted me, obviously with their money and their advice. They'd seen me purchasing for a long time myself, and they had seen me be successful with it. So the way that I approach real estate is a little bit different because I'm much more numbers focused. But of course, I still love real estate, but I still have a passion for it as well. So I look for sometimes more unique properties too. But that all lended itself to me finally getting my license. It was a bit of an interesting period because by the time I got my license, it was, I think mid-February of last year. So right at the height of COVID. So, it was, sorry?
How many years was it that you get your license? How many years was it that you got your license after working as a mortgage broker? How many years did it take?
It only took me a year. A little over a year to a year and a half. So,
no, but I meant, how many years were you working as a mortgage? How many years were you working in the mortgage industry before getting your real estate license as well?
About 5 years, 4 or 5 years.
Gotcha. But you grew up, like your family worked in this industry for years.
Yes.
I mean, it was part of your life for
yeah.
many years. Okay.
So
Gotcha.
Our family brokerage has been around for about 20 years. So I joined it leaving the banking sector where I was working more on the investment side of things. So now I just switched over to the other side of the balance sheet, working with my family, growing that family business. And then again, it just made sense, especially for not only me personally with my own deals on the real estate side, but what I realized is I had so many clients that were coming to me looking for advice with respect to their mortgages. And a lot of the agents, they're not well versed in that side of things. So how do you position, a client for success to be able to get into a property and stretch those dollars, or what makes the most sense for them within their overall real estate portfolio? And how do you finance that in the best way for them? Not only from a tax point of view, but also just from a personal point of view, reaching their goals. What are they looking for long term, right? So it's not just the one transaction of the deal, but given my background as more of a financial planner, I try and take the longer term approach with clients and really understand what are they looking for, and where does this piece of real estate fit within their overall investment portfolio and personal goals as well. So knowing all of that and seeing kind of the gap that existed with a lot of clients that were coming to me, that's what prompted me to really go ahead and get my real estate license. I think we've lost Meir for a bit, so I'll keep chatting. So I mean, the real estate, like I said, was a natural fit for me. And I was lucky in that I had garnered a lot of trust from my clients, much like Meir, who I've been working with for a number of years on the mortgage side of things. Mortgage business for us, we deal with residential, commercial, land development, and construction. So lots of different areas for clients that we were able to help them with. So having that network definitely helped. But in particular, I was very successful in Prince Edward County. Most of my deals this year, starting as a new agent, really resulted from my foothold in Prince Edward County and being kind of that expert knowledge center for most people that really weren't sure about Prince Edward County, didn't know much about it, just realized that it was becoming the hot place. It was getting a lot of attention media-wise across Canada, lots of articles written about it. And we even had, people from all over the world starting to come to Prince Edward County and noticing it. So the growth has been tremendous there. And I think being a first mover there has really helped me in instilling confidence with my clients and my network and wanting to leverage my my knowledge in that base, but in real estate in general. Since I think we've also lost Meir again, I'll take this opportunity maybe to just share with you a little bit about Prince Edward County itself. So Prince Edward County is located to the east. So it's 401 East, and it is a unique space because it really is the epicenter of some of the most largest cities in Canada. You've got Toronto, Ottawa, Montreal, and even Kingston right there. So it's not like other vacation rental places or secondary home spots or investment markets where you're only leveraging off one major city. In this case, you have 3 huge cities that are all there. So it's very unique in that sense. And the growth that we've seen there comes from all over, not just from Toronto. And that's also because of the distance of where it starts from. Toronto is, about 2 hours away, but it does go all the way east, closer towards Montreal, which is then only about a 3.5-hour drive from Montreal, 1 hour to Kingston, 2 hours to Ottawa. So it becomes a very, very attractive market for people. I just a little bit because I lost you. So.
Oh, okay, yeah. I was going to ask you. By the way, I don't mind it's spontaneous conversation sort of. Okay. So do you realize that I was lost because there is a storm here outside of?
I can see the storm. Beautiful place.
Yeah, my connection I got a disconnection. So before we talking about Prince Edward County, and thank you for continuing.
No problem.
And I'm wondering if we maybe restart or not, but we can continue. I'm going back to what I asked before. You're pretty much, you were successful. You're fairly successful as an agent right away almost.
Yeah.
I want to talk about this before we continue about Prince Edward County. Why do you think you succeeded? What were the tools you were using? Why did you manage and how to make so many deals right away? Because most agents, it takes a time. It takes you're as successful now as an agent that works for years, for 2-3 years. What do you think made a difference?
Thank you. I did allude to some of that. I think part of it definitely is my background. So having an already established network of clients that trusted me with their finances, coming from the mortgage side of things as well as from the financial things. But not only just that, I think the fact that the approach that I would take with clients was a little bit different. So whereas some agents may be talking just about the property itself, my background, because I come from a former financial background, I'm really looking to understand why people are looking to buy a certain property. So how does that work within their overall investment portfolio or within their goals? And so I spend some time with clients really understanding that so I can make sure I get what the right fit is. Because sometimes through the conversation, I realized that, you know what, they're going for this type of property because that's what in their mind they think is the right move, but actually maybe it's a different approach altogether. So I can be quite creative in the different solutions that I present to them, and it might be a something where we work over a longer period of time together. So it's something that it's not just right away one transaction. Now it might be multiple transactions that are different, and we're really adding almost like an asset class to them, but it depends on what their goals are. So in some cases it's, just a vacation property, and in some cases it's not. But I think that as agents, we need to broaden the conversation with our clients initially and build that trust so that they look at us as the main experts and they look at us as a resource, but they also trust us to help them guide them through it, because a real estate transaction can be simple in construct, but it's really more complicated, and it is a huge investment. It's likely one of the largest investments anyone's going to make. So I think
100%.
the biggest thing is trust and confidence that you can instill.
But started, and that's going to be the last question about the business itself.
Yeah, no problem.
Did you databases? Is that what you did? Did you go back to your databases, and did you come out and made an announcement? That's what.
So I've lost you again a little bit. Oh, so there you go. I think I understand the question because you're breaking up a little bit. I think you're asking what was my approach? Is that right?
Just as a first step, just the first steps. When you got your license, your success was pretty immediate. Did you go back to your database and announcement? Did you use your database, your contacts? Like, how did people know to start working with Susan Tavana? And maybe the second question is the fact that you were so specialized in one area, did that help your immediate success? Attribute to that as well.
So certainly.
So my question has two parts.
Yes. So, okay. So certainly, to answer your first part, what I did is, mine's a little bit unique because, it was when I got my license was sort of the height of COVID. It was during lockdown. So nothing was really happening. There was so much uncertainty at that time. So I took that time to I didn't announce that I was an agent yet, but I took the opportunity through my social media and whatnot to concentrate it a little bit more on real estate focus. So, building that background so that when I did launch and let people know, I'm here with an agent, the connection was very easy. So a lot of my, stories or Instagrams or things like that may have been highlighting some of the properties that I already have, some of the investment decisions that I've made, spotlighting different areas. So, that I think also drummed up a little bit of, support, if you will, or people's interest in that area, so that when I did come out, it wasn't necessarily a shock or surprise, and it wasn't a brand new space. I did leverage for sure my existing contacts. I think being specialized always helps, but even in a larger market like Toronto, where there's a lot of competition, I still have, a solid network there of my peers and my friends. And so it is really important to let them know what you do, but also where you differentiate, right? So again, for me, the fact that I have that, financial background and that edge, and that I take that approach is where I think I stand out. A lot of people can maybe get in front of a client, but from my experience with any clients that I've ever had, the people that want to work with you and the people that continue to work with you and be loyal to you are those that you build that trust with. So if you already have a network, those are the people that trust you the most. So you got to start there. Right?
I agree. And you came across maybe as an expert, probably as an expert. People trusted you because they worked in the financial industry, you did their mortgages. And the reason I wanted to bring up this question, because I think there are a lot of new agents that I want them to watch you, and I'm hoping they're watching, and you're inspired. You're an inspiration. They can look at you. A lot of professionals have contacts, and I urge them that if they, by the way, I was exactly the same.
Yeah.
I did not start with real estate. I started with another industry. It took me time to realize what I want to do, and I want to start focusing on that. So in a way, you're an inspiration. By the way, I know we are breaking a little bit, so I'm not sure. Sometimes I cannot hear you so clearly, but
okay.
Thank you for overcoming that and continuing. So now let's talk about Prince Edward County. You mentioned your friend. You grew up in Toronto. You do deals in Toronto.
Yeah.
I know by working with you for years, you're very much involved in the downtown market. You know what's going on. You know there are great investments in Toronto. You helped me to put them together. And your friend calls you one day and tells you, let's go to Prince Edward County. What did you see there? And that was how many years ago? About 4 years ago or so?
4 years ago. 4 years ago, yeah.
What did you see there? What made you realize I would like to work here, or I would like to start investing here? What do you see? Why was it different? What was appealing?
What I loved about Prince Edward County is there honestly is a bit of a charm and romanticism to the county. You've got these beautiful old heritage homes throughout the county. You've got a mix of farmhouses with rolling hills, and then these like I said, heritage century homes. You've also got a huge beach. You've got lake, and it's really beautiful the way that they've developed Prince Edward County, because the reason it's called Prince Edward County is it makes up 10 different townships. And it starts, the most westward closer to Toronto and goes sort of all the way further east. And it follows a nice, beautiful trail. And there's something called the Millennial Trail, which is about 40 kilometers long, which is filled with, bike trails, walking trails, all those kind of things where you can, follow along it, which it guides you through all the wineries, and all the different little counties have their own charm. Like they've got a little, downtown area with beautiful little shops, and got amazing restaurants. Like it reminded me a lot of like Montauk, or that area, but like 10, 15 years earlier. So where I see the county going is that, yeah.
But that was 4 years ago. That was 4 years ago that you saw that. And how are prices compared back then to Toronto? It's probably a fraction of what it's costing in Toronto. That was appealing as well.
Yeah, I mean, no question. So, like I said, the county itself has changed dramatically even in the last 2 years. And every year it's changing quite a bit, because the sheer demand is outstretching the ability for the county to keep up with accommodations. It's also having an ability to keep up with residential housing. So there's a huge need for residential housing for the workers that are coming in, because of the businesses that are moving there. Like the number of restaurants that keep opening up on an annualized basis is tremendous for such a small area. It's also got, like I said, it's got almost 40 different wineries. It's got a bunch of breweries, cider places. So it attracts people from all different walks of life. It's not just younger people. It's not older people that are retirees. It really attracts everybody, and there's something different to do. You've got antique shops. You've got, like I said, the beautiful beaches there. So, when people go there, they it's not like, if I were to compare it to a Muskoka or other places where really you go there and it's a beautiful landscape, but you don't move. People that go to Prince Edward County, they have so much to do every day. You can go multiple times and still explore and still go do different things, or you can sit back and enjoy the sunsets that they're famous for, or the rolling, beautiful countryside, with hills and, beautiful farmhouse or whatever it is. You really feel like you've got an escape, that you've gone to a different destination, even though it's only 2 hours from your back door. So it's nothing like anything I've seen in Canada. It's really, really unique, very different. And so I knew I wanted to be a part of it, and I knew it was going to grow tremendously. And
which it did, and did it?
Which it has.
How much of a price appreciation was there since 4 years ago when you started working there? And what happened? And my next question is, what happened during COVID? So so basically my question is divided into two parts.
Yeah. So I mean, prices have almost tripled in
tripled.
Almost, definitely doubled.
I should have been listening to you 4 years ago when you told me about it.
Yes. It took a while for it to pick up steam, but then in the last 2 years, like I said, certainly there's been a lot of growth. But really, what happened in the county is not dissimilar to many places outside of the city. As soon as the market kind of opened up after that first wave of lockdown, so many people were wanting to get out and buy places out of Toronto. But PEC enjoyed a tremendous growth, like pretty much from June till end of this year, we've got almost 30% growth in the market. That's happened. Yeah.
Wow.
And the median price is about $750,000. There certainly still are homes that you can buy that are less expensive than that. But there also are homes that are, quite a bit more expensive, because you have a mixed bag of people that you see these beautiful, huge, large properties that are on water that are going for, $2.5–3 million. But then you can still also pick up, a quaint country home that's got a lot of land for maybe, $600,000–700,000. So it appeals to people of all different backgrounds and price ranges, and that's what's different about Prince Edward County too. It's the market is different. It depending on where you're located, and in the county, as well as what you're looking for, you can still get a piece of it. And most people that are coming in there are very different. So you're getting people that are retirees that are buying their vacation properties and they want to have a foothold in the county. You're also getting young people that are like myself that want to have a vacation property themselves. You're also getting people that are moving there from the city because now, due to lockdown, they can be anywhere. I've had two friends that have rented their places that they own in the city and they've moved out to the county because they can rent it at a decent level, and they were able to buy a property that's a large house for less than they can in Canada, or sorry, in Toronto, and they've enjoyed price appreciation over time. And then the third really big piece of it, which is where I've got a lot of success in, is on the investment property side of things. So as short-term accommodations have really taken hold in the county, because as I was alluding to earlier, there simply is just not enough demand. So the county doesn't allow any large chain hotels or anything like that in there. They really want to keep the character of the county. So you only have boutique hotels that are maybe 10 to 20 units in size. And to give you an example, like the Drake and Devonshire, which is probably the most popular and well-known place, to get a small, tiny hotel suite there is about $750 a night in the summer, and they're booked. And almost all accommodations in June, July, and August are completely booked. So the
that's what you were doing. You were doing the investments, right? You were personally buying investment properties, and you were doing the short-term rentals as well.
Yeah. So that landscape.
Yeah.
So
the rules have changed, though, right?
The rules have changed, and it's a little bit complicated. So again, having someone like myself that's a resource that knows the people in the county and the people in the offices really make a difference, because the people there are super friendly, they're approachable, but there's a very different way of doing business in the county than there is in Toronto. And they've tried to put some checks and balances in place because people were, it was a little bit crazy given how much demand there was. People were renting all kinds of different places. So they've instituted a licensing requirement and a density check to ensure that they're being fair to the people that live there year round, and ensuring also that there's proper building code requirements. The guests that are checking in are having a safe and nice place at the end of the day. So while that landscape has changed, it's a little bit more difficult for people to buy these properties and convert them to short-term accommodations for anything less than 30 days, essentially. So where it's Airbnb or VRBO, whatever it is, it's still possible to do that. And there are several properties that are coming up on the market all the time now that are what they call grandfathered properties. Properties that existed prior to the licensing changes that were being rented out as short-term accommodations can still be used in that way. So you're starting to see a lot of people that, they purchased a few years back, they've realized the market is great, and now you almost are buying something that is a business as well as a vacation property, as well as has capital growth appreciation. So you're almost hitting it on a two-pronged approach. So if I'm someone, again, that wants to buy in the county, maybe I stretch my dollars a little bit further and I buy something that's a bit more expensive, but then I can enjoy it myself for a while with my family. I can also rent it out and enjoy a very nice return on investment just on the income alone. Plus I'm getting capital appreciation because the market is, it's slated to move 8 to 10% per year for the next few years. And in my opinion, the market in the county, you have maybe a window of the next 3 years, after which it's probably going to be unaffordable. So it's really, to me, it's like the Hamptons of Canada. And
do you think there is still room for? Do you believe there is still room for appreciation? Should
Absolutely.
Myself and others still invest there? There's still room.
Absolutely. So, I have lots of clients that we're looking all the time. So, in some cases, if you want something much like Toronto, that's done and turnkey and ready to go, you're going to pay a little bit more for it, but you still are definitely going to get more capital appreciation in Prince Edward County. There's a lot of room to grow still. And, or you create the value yourself. You find something that needs a little bit of work, and then you can, enjoy the growth on that. I know for myself, where we are looking more so at opportunities are one side of it is those properties that are providing you with that great income return. And to give you a sense, you're looking at a minimum of a 7 cap rate on your investments, even at prices now that are higher, when it comes to an income return, and that doesn't include any capital appreciation on top. So once you add that in, you're well over 10%, which is amazing. The other side of it is, flips. A lot of people are going in there and they're buying these homes and they're renovating it themselves and they're enjoying huge returns on that as well. And then the third side of it is people that are just buying it for the long term. And there really is no long-term apartments or rentals in the county because so many people have bought them up. So they're forced to either rent in Belleville or things like that. So if you do buy a house and you want to rent it long-term, you won't have any issue. Those are being rented. Like those people are dying for those rentals. So you could also take that approach to it as well. And then the last thing is the development opportunity. We've already seen some developers that have come into the county, but like I said, the county itself realizes that there's a big need and a lack of housing. So that's on their agenda to increase that. And there's still plenty of land in the county that's ripe for development. So in general, to answer your question, lots of opportunity.
Susan, I'm so glad I asked you to come and join us but just by speaking to you, I realized two things. One, you're super passionate about buying and selling there. And two, you're a real expert. So for any agents from the rest of Ontario or the GTA, if 5 clients are looking to buy cottage country investments, or they would like to maybe buy a place for themselves just to stay over the weekends, you would take referrals as well?
Oh, of course. I would be happy to work with any agents, and I'm happy to also be a resource center. If you have questions or anything of that nature, please let me know. I know the county inside and out, and there's many different areas of it. So if you're not familiar with it, once things open up, I'm happy to also give you guys a tour. Come on down. And yeah.
You promised me a wine tour. You promised me once a tour. I'm gonna take a credit on that. I'm still gonna take a credit.
Anytime.
Okay. Well, thank you so much. Thank you for sharing. You were amazing. And anyone who has questions, if you don't mind, anyone who has questions, I will ask everyone to either contact you directly or post questions in the comments, and then you can answer as well on Facebook.
Yeah, that would be great. I'm available anytime anyone needs anything. I'm happy to chat. So thank you so much for your time today, and I hope to see you for that wine tour sometime soon.
I look forward. I'll come with my wife for the weekend.
Yes, that would be lovely.
You're amazing. Okay. Susan Tavana, thank you so much.
Thank
you so much for everyone who was watching in our group, Homeland Ontario, Realtors for Realtors. And I hope you have a great weekend.
Thank you. Enjoy the rest of your day and have a great weekend, guys.